Hi everyone, Aidan here. I hope that you're all keeping safe and well. Today I'd like to talk to you about business culture and how it affects your organisation. Now, culture affects your business in three different general areas. One, it can affect the way that you understand how your business works. The second way it can affect you is in how you determine or how you can determine the most appropriate strategies for your business. And thirdly, it can affect how you establish business goals. So what all this means in day-to-day language can be easily explained in the four areas of business that we all can face difficulties, which is competitors, customers, employees, and trading partners. So how culture affects us in terms of competitors, that in today's global competitive environment, we have to try to be the best and offer the best service to our customers. And what that means is that we have to be able to know who our competitors are, but also who our customers are, and be able to service our customers in a way that they require. So, for example, in Western countries, in customer service centres, we tend to ask a lot of questions to try and almost interrogate the customer so that we can decide which is the most appropriate service for them. While in some Asian countries, what might happen there is they may just ask very simple questions and give them the service that the customer is looking for, which may not actually be the service that the customer needs. The second way which culture affects our business is in terms of dealing with employees. Today, the workforce within any organization has become very, very diverse. So we have to take this into account when dealing with employees within the organization. So for example, in countries like Nigeria, a senior person will often receive a bow from a junior person with a polite handshake, where in countries like Denmark, where everybody is considered equal, you might get a hello, good morning in a more casual manner. So these differences need to be taken into account when dealing with employees from different parts of the world and different cultures. So the third area is how we deal with our customers. And again, in today's world, we are dealing with customers from across the world. So we have to be able to be conscious of how we treat and take into account their different cultural background. So for example, in Ireland, where I'm from, it's quite common at Christmas time to give people bottles of wine or bottles of alcohol as Christmas gifts. While in Muslim countries, for example, like Saudi Arabia, if you were to do that, it would be considered very, very rude and very, very ignorant. So we must be very conscious of the cultural background of our customers. And fourthly, international trade. Many companies today are sourcing the products from around the world, so we are having to travel and negotiate with suppliers in different countries. And I always like to use the example of a business card. So for example, in China, if you go and give your business card, it's considered polite to receive that business card with both hands. If you go to certain parts of India and you give a business card, it's considered polite to receive the business card with just your right hand. So we have to learn to adapt a modifier approach where we're going to different countries to negotiate, build relationships, and engage with them. People often ask me, Aidan, what tips can you give me with business culture? Well, the one thing I always say is you need to try and quickly learn what type of business culture you have, but also quickly try and learn what type of business culture the opposite person that you're speaking or engaging with has. And what you need to do is quickly ask yourself some simple questions and try and form a rapid assessment of that individual. And you should be asking yourself some of these following questions. What are these people in terms of dress and appearance? How do they look? Does that give me any indication that maybe their culture is slightly different? When we eat, do they eat different? Do they eat different types of food? Is the foods that they will accept, or is the foods that they won't accept that I will? Next thing is communication and language. If they don't speak English, what level of English do they speak? But also, how do they interpret what we say? So for example, I always use the analogy is when you say within Ireland, I've had words with somebody, that means you've had a very heated row with somebody. Where in India, if somebody says, I've had words with somebody, it's basically mean I've had a conversation with them. just a polite conversation. So we have to be able to understand these nuances in terms of words. We also need to look at people in terms of how they treat time. Some countries are very time specific. The Nordic countries say that if they're on time, they're going to be on time. Where countries that are more, we'd say, from a warmer area, they tend to be more relaxed in the terms of time. So if they say they'll be here at a certain hour, it could be an hour later, an hour and a half later. So we have to understand that difference of timing and how people value time. Relationships is very, very vital. Surprisingly enough, in Asian countries, you build a relationship before you build business. So you might be going out to meals with people and trying to learn about their families and everything else before you even discuss any business. Where in the Western world, it's more about business first and then perhaps relationships afterwards. And then finally, it's the attitudes people have and what their values are. And again, engaging in conversation with people, trying to learn little things about them and their backgrounds will help you understand their values and help you understand what they appreciate. And you'll find that once you do that, you will actually find there's a lot of correlation perhaps to what you have. So these are some simple tips that I would give. It's always a learning process. I'm doing this for over 20 years and I still have never got it 100% right. You're always going to make mistakes, but if you can make these mistakes in a graceful and respectful manner with somebody else, they'll always appreciate that you're trying to work with them. If you have any questions about this or you want to watch any more videos, please don't hesitate to look below. And thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. Bye bye and stay safe.